This started years ago, but even now when I think back on it, it still feels like I'm living in some weird nightmare. I'm 30, and for most of my life, my family seemed like the kind of family where everything was pretty good. My parents, Leonard, 60 male, and Margaret, 56 female, had their moments, but I grew up with them as loving and supportive. Then there's my sister Nicole, 28 female, who I had always considered close. We were not perfect, but I never imagined anything would cause any serious issues between us. I was engaged to Patrick, my ex-fiance, and we had been dating since high school. We were happy, or at least I thought we were. Patrick was well liked by everyone because he was charming, respectful, and had an easygoing personality. We had the wedding all planned out, and my parents were more than happy to help out money-wise. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. But then everything came crashing down. I found out that Nicole and Patrick had been seeing each other behind my back, and it was not a one-time event. It had been going on for months. At first, I didn't believe it. It felt absurd, like something that could not have happened. I thought I must be imagining things. But then I saw the text messages on Patrick's phone, and they told me everything I needed to know. There it was, plain as day. The man I loved, the one I was supposed to marry, had been cheating on me with my little sister. The messages were clear. They were not just flirty or friendly. They were personal, intimate, full of details that made me sick. They even talked about sneaking around and joked about how I did not suspect a thing. My heart broke as I read them. This was not just a mistake. It was months of lies and betrayal. What hurt the most was how much I trusted both of them. Patrick and Nicole always seemed to get along, but I assumed this was just normal, friendly behavior. I never suspected there was anything more going on. I kept thinking about all the times we were together, the three of us having fun and spending time as if nothing was wrong. How could they lie to me like that? My fiancé and sister, two people who should have cared the most about me, had completely broken my trust and turned my life upside down. I'm not sure how I made it through the next few days. My heart was broken. Patrick did not even try to explain himself. When I confronted Nicole, she did not even seem sorry. She apologized, but it didn't seem sincere. How could she have done that to me after everything we had gone through together? I cancelled the wedding, broke up with Patrick, and cut all contact with Nicole. I did not even want to see her face. It hurt too much. My parents were furious with Nicole too, but they didn't know how to handle the situation. They could not believe what had happened either. That was about 5 years back. Then, 3 years back, I started seeing Liam, my now husband, and things started to feel right again. A year and a half back, we started planning our wedding. Then came the conversation with my mom. She called me one evening and told me that they wanted to pay for my wedding, but there was a condition. She said that if I invited Nicole and her family, we could start fresh. She wanted me to invite my sister to the wedding as a way of fixing the family and moving forward. My first thought was, no way. There was no way I could let her back into my life so easily after what she did. But then my mom mentioned the money. They were offering to pay for the entire wedding. Liam and I had enough for a proper wedding, so at first I denied. But my mom kept insisting, saying, it's my chance to fix things. Nicole is part of the family and we should all move forward together. It felt like an ultimatum. I wanted the wedding, but I also did not want to just pretend like everything was fine with Nicole. Still, Liam and I were in a tough spot and we could afford a decent wedding, but not my dream wedding. After thinking about it for a while, I agreed to invite Nicole, but only because I knew that deep down, I could not let the financial situation ruin everything. The wedding day finally came, and honestly, I was nervous. There was so much tension between me and my sister, and I did not know how I was supposed to act like everything was normal. But I told myself that it was not about her. It was about Liam and me and starting our own life. Everything went smoothly at first. Liam looked amazing, and the ceremony went above all our expectations. I felt beautiful in my dress, and we were surrounded by family and friends who were rooting for us. But as the day went on, things became more stressful. Nicole and her family arrived, and I could not bring myself to even look at her. She was acting like nothing had happened, smiling and talking to people as if she had not slept with my fiancé and torn my world apart. My stomach twisted every time I saw her. I had agreed to invite her, but I could not pretend like nothing had happened. At the reception, everyone was gathered around the bar. Everyone was chatting and having fun when I noticed Nicole standing with Nate, her husband, and their children. I could not keep it in anymore. I approached her and made sure everyone heard me. I casually introduced her to the group, but instead of simply saying, "This is my sister," I added, "And this is Nicole, the home wrecker." The room fell silent. I could see her face go pale, her smile faltering. People started looking at her and then back at me, trying to figure out what was going on. Nicole was definitely shocked, but I did not care. I was not going to pretend that everything was okay. She did not deserve to be treated like some innocent person after what she had done to me. I couldn't help but blame her more. Patrick was just a guy, but she's my sister. She should have never done this to me. Nicole tried to pull me aside to talk, but I walked away. I could not be near her. Not after everything. She was standing there looking like she was about to cry, but I didn't care. She had no right to act like she was the victim here. The rest of the evening was awkward. People kept staring at Nicole, whispering behind their hands. I could sense the tension, but it did not bother me anymore. I had done what I had to do. I was not going to let her go on with her life pretending nothing had happened. I could not let my parents believe everything was fine when it was not. It felt good to finally tell everyone the truth, even if it made them uncomfortable. Liam and I managed to enjoy the rest of the night, but things felt different. The weight of the situation was still heavy, but I could not change it. I couldn't change what Nicole had done, and I was not about to act like it didn't matter just because it was my wedding. As the night went on, Nicole avoided me, and my parents were too upset to say much to either of us. I could tell they did not agree with how I handled things, but they understood why I did it. They didn't say much, and neither did I. I was not going to let her get away with what she had done. The rest of the night felt like a blur. Awkward glances, quiet conversations, and an overall sense of unease. I'm still not sure if what I did was the right thing, but at that moment it felt like the only thing I could do. I've been going back and forth about what happened at my wedding, and now that it has been months, things are still messy. I don't think I was wrong, but my parents definitely think I was. I thought that was the end of it, but now, months later, things have gotten worse. I discovered that Nicole's marriage to her husband, Nate, is falling apart. He was furious after hearing what had happened. Nicole never told him the whole thing, so he felt completely betrayed by her and no longer trusted her. He's been asking her a lot of questions, and she's been trying to explain everything, but it's clear that he is struggling to forgive her. Now my parents are upset with me. They say I've been too petty. They think I should have just let the past go. They keep saying that it's old drama and that I should have been more mature about it. They say I shouldn't have said anything about Nicole in the wedding, that it's not my business to bring it up anymore. They claim I made things worse and it's my fault things are bad between Nicole and Nate now. I do not agree with them. I feel like I had every right to call her out. She ruined my engagement, and I was not about to pretend like nothing happened. I know I could have handled it differently, but at the moment, it felt like the only thing I could do. I've been trying to move on from the whole situation, but my sister never even apologized for what she did. She never even acknowledged how much she hurt me. So now I'm torn. I was not planning for her marriage to fall apart, but I also did not believe I needed to hide the truth. I'm still angry about what she did, and I can't pretend it didn't happen, especially since my parents are pressuring me to. So, aita for what I did at my wedding. Should I have just kept quiet and let Nicole slide by, or was it right to let everyone know what happened? Update 1. After the wedding, I didn't hear much about Nicole until last week when my parents came to visit. I could tell something was wrong because they both looked stressed. As soon as they sat down, my mom brought up Nicole and Nate. She said their marriage was falling apart. Since the wedding, Nate has been distant and cold with Nicole. After he found out about her past with Patrick, he hasn't been the same. He barely talks to her anymore, and when he does, it's usually just about the kids or other practical matters. He has been questioning everything about their relationship, wondering if there's something more she's hiding. There is a lot of tension between them now, and Nate seems to be keeping his distance both emotionally and physically. He has been avoiding her, spending more time away from home or just in separate spaces when they're there. He hasn't been able to get past what he found out at the wedding, and it is clear he's struggling to trust her again. Apparently, he said something like, if she had told him about Patrick, he would not have cared about this, but since she hid it from him, he can't seem to shake it off. Things between them are really bad. Nate doesn't trust her anymore. He has been cold and distant, and they've been fighting constantly. A few weeks ago, he told Nicole he wanted a paternity test for their kids. That completely blindsided her. My parents said she was furious at first and refused, but eventually she gave in. The test is done, but the results have not come back yet. The strange part is how anxious Nicole is about it. My mom said she hasn't been eating or sleeping well, and she's been crying a lot. When I asked why she'd be so nervous, my mom hesitated before telling me the truth. Nicole had slept with Patrick a few times after she got married to Nate. Hearing that made my head spin. I could not believe it. My mom looked so disappointed too. She said Nicole had been a mess ever since Nate asked her for the test. She keeps telling my mom she doesn't want to lose her marriage, but how can she save it when she's been hiding something this big? My dad, who usually stays out of these things, even chimed in. He said Nate had every right to be upset and that Nicole's choices were catching up to her. He did not defend her, but he also said it was sad to see her life falling apart like this. He thinks she doesn't know how to deal with the guilt. But honestly, this is not an excuse for what she has done. Nicole is struggling, and my parents are really worried about her. My mom said she's constantly on edge and snaps at everyone around her. My dad said she's been calling them non-stop, crying and saying she doesn't know what to do, but at the same time, she hasn't admitted anything to Nate about Patrick. She's just waiting for the test results and hoping everything will somehow blow over. I don't think this is going to happen. Even if the kids are Nate's, the damage to their marriage is already done. My mom told me Nate barely talks to Nicole now. He keeps his distance, and when they do talk, it usually turns into an argument. My parents said they can feel the tension even when they're not in the same room as them. When I asked why Nicole kept going back to Patrick, my mom didn't have an answer. She said she has been asking herself the same thing and wondering where she went wrong as a parent. She said Nicole was not always like this and that she doesn't recognize her anymore. As for Patrick, he has entirely moved on with his life. He's married, has children, and does not seem to care much about Nicole. He has made a life for himself with his family and barely cares about her. He only comes back to her on a few occasions, but it is clear that she's just an extra in his life. Someone he depends on when it is convenient. He no longer emotionally is invested in her, and she's just someone he keeps in the background while he concentrates on his own life. But Nicole is stuck in this pattern. It is difficult for me to feel sympathetic for her. I understand how this is tearing my parents apart. But Nicole made her own decisions. She chooses to cheat on her husband and has to deal with the consequences. I feel bad for Nate because he had no idea what he was getting into when he married her. As for me, I'm just staying out of it. My relationship with Nicole has been strained for years. I don't want to get dragged into her mess again. But it is hard to ignore how much this is affecting my parents. My mom kept saying she wished she could help Nicole, but what could she do? Nicole has to face this herself. Right now, everything seems to be depending on the paternity test results. My parents are waiting for the results like they're holding their breath. They do not want Nicole's life to fall apart completely, but they probably realize that this is already a disaster. If the children are Nate's, they may have a chance to work things out, but even then, it looks like far too much damage has been caused. If they are not, I can only imagine what will happen next. That is all for now. I will update if anything changes. Update 2. The results finally came in and things got real. The first child is not Nate's, but the second one is. It was a shock, but at the same time, it did not really surprise me. Nicole had been avoiding the truth for so long, and now it was all out in the open. And when she found out, she called Mom right away. I was sitting there when it happened, so I could hear Mom's side of the conversation. She was screaming at Nicole and completely losing it. I do not blame her. The situation was a mess, and Mom had been holding out hope that the whole thing would work out for Nicole. But it was just too much now. Later that day, Mom called me. I could tell right away something was wrong. She was crying. She said that Nate had asked for a divorce. I mean, what else could he do at this point? Nicole had already hurt him in so many ways, and now the truth was out. It was like the last straw for him, and I honestly can't blame him for wanting to end it. Nicole's been having a breakdown since then. She's been calling and texting, begging Nate to stay, but it's obvious that he doesn't want to. He is done, and I'm sure it's painful for her, but I can't feel sorry for her. She made her bed, and now she has to lie in it. It's hard to see her like this, but she put herself in this position, and there's no one else to blame. A few days ago, Nicole called me from an unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the best of me. I was surprised to hear it was her, and she was crying on the other end. She was begging me to talk to Nate, to do something, anything to fix things. I don't know what she thought I could do, but I just could not bring myself to help. I told her there was nothing I could do. This was her mess to fix, not mine. I ended the call as quickly as I could. But she did not stop. She kept texting me, trying to guilt trip me by talking about her kids. She said they would be devastated by the divorce and that their whole life would fall apart. And yeah, I get it. The kids are innocent in all this, but I am not about to start getting involved in their drama. I do not know them, but they're still kids and I'm not completely heartless. So I told Nicole that I would help the kids if they ever needed anything, but I was not going to try to fix things between her and Nate. That was not my place. This was her responsibility, and she needed to face the consequences of her actions. I told my parents about what had happened, and they both agreed that I should not get involved. They said Nicole might try to put the blame on me or even make me feel bad for not helping her out. I agree, because I did not want to be dragged into it. Nicole had made choices that led her to this point. She was not the victim in this situation, but I do feel guilty. Sometimes I wonder if I could have done things differently. Maybe I could have just not caused the scene at my wedding. But the truth is that Nicole's actions were her own, and no matter how I look at it, she made the decision to sleep with Patrick even after she was married to Nate. Nobody forced her into it. Nate would have found out eventually, and the entire situation would have blown up sooner or later. So I am trying not to think about the what ifs. It happened, and she has to deal with the consequences. I cannot help but feel sorry for Nate. He didn't deserve any of it. He loved Nicole, and everything has come crashing down. I can't imagine what it's like to find out that your wife has been keeping such a big secret from you. He has every reason to be angry and upset. Nicole betrayed his trust, and I think he is secretly convinced that everything he thought he knew about their relationship was a lie. It is hard because part of me feels bad for Nicole, but at the same time, I know she brought this on herself. I've been trying to stay out of it as much as I can, but it's not easy. My parents are worried about her, and I know they want to help, but it's clear that Nicole needs to face the consequences of her actions. She can't keep running away from it. I'm not sure what will happen next. Nicole's still trying to hold on to her marriage, but it is clear that Nate is not interested in staying. He's already asked for a divorce, and I don't see how anything will change that. I think it's just a matter of time before they officially split. But even then, I do not know if Nicole will ever truly be able to move on from this. She has made so many mistakes, and it's going to take a long time for her to rebuild her life if she ever can. I'm trying to keep my distance from all of it. I don't want to get caught in the middle. Nicole made her choices, and now she has to live with the fallout. It's not my job to fix it, and I've told her that. I just wish things had turned out differently. But I can't change the past. I hope she learns from all of this, but right now, it is clear she's not in a place where she can see what she's done. Update 3. My mom called me the other day and told me that Nate wanted to talk to me. I was pretty surprised, honestly. I've never really talked to Nate before. I mean, I saw him at my wedding, but that was about it. He has always been Nicole's husband, but we never really had a reason to have a conversation. When I asked Mom what it was about, she did not really know, but said maybe I should talk to him. I was not sure what to expect, but I agreed. The next day, Nate called me. He asked if I would be comfortable meeting him, but I told him I was not sure. To be honest, I really do not want to get involved in Nicole's life after everything that happened. I felt like staying out of it was the best option. But Nate said he understood, and he told me he needed my advice. Apparently, Nicole is my sister, and he thought I might know her better than anyone else. I was not sure what he needed from me, so I asked him. He then asked me if I thought Nicole was worth another chance. I was taken aback. How could I even answer that? I felt like it was not my place to tell him whether he should forgive her or not. He explained that everyone was expecting him to fix things with Nicole because they have a child together. He said she was not involved with Patrick anymore, and that seemed to be the main reason why people thought they could still work things out. But he needed to know if, as her sister, I thought Nicole was worth him trying again. Honestly, I didn't know how to answer him. I told him that it was not my place to make that decision for him. It was something he needed to figure out on his own. I explained that I cut Nicole out of my life because it felt like the right thing to do for me. But that did not mean that he had to do the same thing. If he thought there was a chance for them to fix things, then he should follow his heart. But I could not tell him whether that would be the right thing or not. I also told him that he needed to consider what was best for him and the kids. He had to do what would bring him peace, because no matter what decision he made, he would have to live with it. Then Nate said something that really made me pause. He told me he could not even look at their older child the same way anymore. Every time he looked at her, he just remembered that Nicole had slept with Patrick. He said he didn't blame the child, of course. She's just 3, and she did not have any part in it. But he said he could not shake the feeling. He still wanted to love her the way he did before, but it was hard for him. He said he did not know how to get past it. I understood. I can't imagine what it would be like to feel that way, especially about a child who did not ask for any of this. It must be heartbreaking for him. I told him I understood how he felt. I didn't know what it would be like to walk in his shoes. but I could imagine that it was incredibly tough to deal with those emotions. I did not know how to tell him what to do, but I hoped he would find a way to work through it, one way or another. Nate thanked me for listening to him, and he said he would take some time to think things over. After that, he ended the call. Nicole's breakdown is still going on. She keeps calling me and texting me, trying to get me to talk to Nate. She wants me to help fix things, but it's clear to me that this is not something I can fix. At the end of the day, I'm trying to stay out of it as much as I can. It's not my job to fix their marriage. I've been hurt by Nicole, and I do not want to get dragged into this mess. But I can't help but feel bad for the kids. I just hope they end up okay no matter what happens between Nate and Nicole. I guess we'll see what happens. Update 4. So I have not posted an update in a long time. A few things have happened. For about 6 months, Nate tried really hard to forgive Nicole and keep the family together. He wanted to move on, but it was not easy. They tried therapy. They went on this vacation and they did everything possible. Then at some point, there was a big argument where Nicole lashed out at him. She blamed him for not doing enough in order to fix their marriage. Well, she felt she was giving everything she had. She told him that if he genuinely cared, he would work harder to save their relationship, and that he was not putting in the same effort as she was. At the same time, Nate felt like no matter how hard he tried, it never seemed to be enough. And he realized there was something seriously wrong that could not be fixed with just effort. He eventually reached his breaking point. He told Nicole that he could not stay with her. He could not keep pretending things were fine when they were not. He realized he could not get past what she did, so he decided to file for divorce. Nicole was upset, of course, and she tried everything to make him change his mind. She begged and cried, but Nate stuck to his decision. He promised her that even though their marriage was ending, he would always be there for their children. He would do everything he could to make sure that they had a good life and never felt abandoned. But as far as his relationship with her, he just could not keep going and pretending like they're okay. Nicole, after trying for a while, finally stopped fighting for the marriage. She understood that Nate was not going to change his mind. She moved back into our parents' house, and that is where she has been since then. They are officially divorced, but it was a quiet divorce. It was not dramatic. It just happened. I saw Nicole a couple of times after the divorce, but it was weird. We did not really talk. It was more like we just acknowledged that the other person was there, and that was it. It felt strange because we used to be close, but now it just felt awkward. There was not really anything to say. It's hard to know what to say when everything has changed. It is clear that things between us will never be the same, and I'm not sure I want to do anything about it. I really do not trust her. The kids, they're still really young, and I feel so bad for them. They do not understand what's going on. All they know is that their parents are not living together anymore. They go back and forth between living with Nate and Nicole, and I can only imagine how confusing and hard that must be for them. So that is where things are. Things are quiet, and everyone is just figuring out how to move on. Stay tuned for more stories from Argo relationships.